Hello guys, thank you for watching my previous video. Thank you very much, and then thank you very much for liking my page and subscribing to my YouTube channel. As I said in my previous video, I said I will be treating the HTML elements. I'll be giving more explanation on HTML elements, HTML attributes, HTML comments and styles, and then colors. So now, first of all, what I would like you to know again, though I've already explained what it is in my previous video, but I would like to remind you again. So I said something about the opening tag and then the closing tag. So how can we identify an opening tag and a closing tag? So let me say I have my h1, which is heading tag 1. So this is, can you see the difference between the h1 tag and the closing h1 tag is this front slash. All end tag, all closing tag always have front slash. So in between the h1 opening tag and the closing tag, I'll be having my HTML I'll be having my HTML contents, my element contents, sorry. So I can just say about me. So when I write about me, just know that in between this tag I have my heading contents. So, and then there is one thing we also called the nested HTML elements. The nested HTML elements, how we write HTML element inside HTML elements. So let me say I have this p tag. Then I want to write my name. I want you to see something. My name is Mahmoud. Yeah. So can you see what this is? Can you see what's on the screen on the browser? I have my name is. Now I want to write the nested HTML elements. I can write my p tag again and then write the italic tag, then write my name is. So can you see the difference between the first HTML, the first p tag and the second p tag? There is, so which means there are some cases of which you're going to be writing an element inside elements. So now I'm going to there are some empty elements that do not have an element content and end tag. Sorry, I mean empty elements are elements that do not have an element content and end tag. So example of them are the meta tag, which is here, and then the link tag. We also have the link tag, which is used to link. We use the link tag to link file, like to move from one file to another. Yeah, let's say I have another file here, which is going to be name.html. There is one thing I forgot to explain in my previous video about the .html. This .html you're seeing is the HTML file extension. Anytime you want to create an HTML file, you have to make use of the .html, because if you don't include the .html, this editor, this VS Code, all editor generally are not going to recognize that file as what? As an HTML file. So which means you have to make use of the .html when creating a file. And then in most cases, most of all the time, we used to make use of the index.html. Why do we use index.html? So let's say I am creating a website that I will be having multiple pages, like I'll be having multiple files, like the about us file, contact file, blog file, and so on and so forth. So there is one. If you notice something when you enter a website, the first file rendered to you, like the first file that is going to render to you, is the index.html. The index.html is the first file that is going to render to you. So which means anytime you want to create your own project, you have to create a folder for a project. After creating a folder for a project, then create your index.html, which is going to be your own page. Then after that, you can continue creating the other pages, like the blog page, which is going to be blog.html, and contact.html, so and so on and so forth, like that. The link tag, let's say I'm going to be having CSS. I'm going to be having the external file, CSS external file in my website. You shouldn't worry about CSS external file now. So let's say I'm going to be having that. If I'm going to be having that, please, I'll just know that I'll be making use of this link tag, because inside the link tag, the href tag, I'll be writing what that is where I'm going to be typing the name of my file. So we have the img, which is used to import image. We use the img tag to import image on our web page. Then we also have the break tag, which is used to break line. If I use the break tag, can you say something? My name is, and now I have my name on a new line. So, and then we also have the hr tag. The hr tag is usually draw a horizontal line. So then after that, I have my input tag. Can you see, these are the tags that I said they are empty elements. They are called what? Empty elements. Now I am going to be moving to HTML attributes. What are HTML attributes? What is HTML attributes? What's the function? HTML attributes are used to add more information to an HTML element. They are used to add more info to our HTML element. So important things to remember when creating an HTML attribute. The first thing you have to remember is what? The HTML attributes are found in HTML tag. The HTML attribute, they are found in HTML tag. And then the second thing, HTML attributes only appear at start tags. The HTML attribute always appears where? At the start tag. It will never be on end tag. Just take note of that. So the third one is HTML elements can have multiple attributes. The HTML element you're seeing, it can have multiple attributes. Then the fourth one is HTML attributes are composed of name, value, pairs. They are composed of name, value, pairs. Then the fifth one, there are some attributes that can be used on all HTML elements, though they may not have effect on some elements. They are called global attributes. I'm still going to tell you, I'm still going to write them out, so for you to have the full knowledge of the HTML attributes. So now, an HTML attribute is composed of an attribute name. Let me type it here. Let me just write it here. An attribute name, then followed by an equal sign, then followed by the values, a value surrounded by quotation mark. then that's it. That's what it is. So in a nutshell, let me just type this so you can see. Then attributes, I have my equal sign, then my value. That's just it. So now, instead of writing all this, let me now give you an example of HTML attributes. We have the lang. If you check your HTML here, you're going to be seeing lang, then the value. Like I said, the value surrounded by what? By quotation mark. So this is the value inside the quotation mark, and this is the attribute, while this is the equal sign. We use the lang attribute to define the language of an HTML file. That is what we use it to do. The language defined above is what? Is an American English. That's what it is. And then there is one other thing, which is what? Which is the href attribute. Let's see what the href attribute is. Let me say I want to go to this name file. Instead of this file, let me just rename it to file 2. File 2. I have index.html, which is my file 1. Then I have my file 2. So inside the href, I can just write file2.html. Then I'm going to type in link me to file 2. So can you see something on the screen? If I click on it, it's going to direct me to the file 2. Let me create the shortcuts. So inside my file 2, I'm also going to be using the anchor tag, which is a tag. Then I'm going to write index.html. Then my anchor tag content is going to be link me back to index.html file. So now let's see something. Let us see the magic. When I click on it, can you see? Can you see? Now it's working. So for you to see very well, let me just write file 1 in the index.html. So in my file 2, I'm going to type file 2. So now in my index.html, I have file 2 and then the anchor tag which says link me to file 2. So if I click on it, it's going to direct me to file 2. Now the file 2 is telling me to to go back to index.html file. So I click on it, it directed me back to file 1. You see, what I actually want you to note here, what I actually want you to see very well is the power of the href attribute. So, and then not only that, we also have a lot and more. There is one last thing I will also introduce to you, which is the style attribute. The style attribute is used to style HTML elements. So that is also called inline elements when you are styling HTML elements inside it. So let me give you an example of what I'm trying to tell you, what I'm trying to explain to you. So let me say I have my h2 tag, which is going to be my name is blah blah blah. Sorry, I missed the first h. Yeah. So now I have my name is blah 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 on my screen. So if I want to style this, my name is, I can just come here. Please don't forget what I explained to you about the HTML attribute. I said HTML attributes only appears, they only appear at start tag. It will never be on end tag, please. And then this is the start tag. If I want to write my HTML attribute, I have to do what? I have to come to my H1, H2 here. When I come there, I'm just going to click on the space button, space key button. When I do that, I'm going to type my style attributes. So inside my style attributes, which is my quotation mark, I'm going to be having some stuffs like the property and the value. Let's say I want to change the color of this. My name is blah blah blah. I can just type color. So then I'll be having red. So that's it. This style attribute can have multiple values. Note one thing: the color is a property, while the red is the value given to the property. So let me, in a nutshell, in between the colon and the semicolon, we have the what? We have the value. So if I want to write another, if I want to write another property, I have to come after the semicolon. Then I can just write text align. Then I will be setting my text to center. So let's see. Yeah, it works. And let's say I want to increase the font size of my text. I can just say font size, then increase it using the px for measuring. So let me increase it to 40 so you can see. Wow, that's what it is about the HTML tag. And then there is one thing I would also like to introduce: the ID and the class attributes. So the ID and class attributes give references to elements inside an HTML document. Multiple elements can have the same class value. Multiple HTML elements can have the same class value. What did I mean by that? If I type P, then I can have my P, which is paragraph 1. I can also come here, and type P, then I'll be having class of P1 again. So anytime I want to do something with this, my P1, let me say I'm creating a CSS file. I want to style this, my HTML element inside CSS file. I can make use of the class attributes. So if I make use of the class attributes and I want to style multiple elements, like I want to give multiple elements the same style, I can just give them the same class value and then call the value in my CSS and then do what I want to do with it. That's just what it is about it. So we have the class value and ID, and the class attributes and ID attributes. That's just what it is. So the next thing is the HTML comments. The HTML comments are texts, phrases, or sentences inside an HTML file. They are only shown in codes and not rendered by a browser, which means they can only be shown on your file, on your HTML file, but they can never be shown on the browser. The browser doesn't care about comments. The browser doesn't care. So why use HTML elements? Why do we use HTML elements? HTML elements help both beginners and experienced web developers to easily organize their code. So we use it to organize our code like in a way of which if I write, let's say I'm writing a code about something and I want it to be like anytime I come back to my code, I want to recall immediately. I want to recall immediately about what I typed in there, what I wrote in there before. Because at times you might write code and then after some times you yourself you are going to forget about everything you've written before. So how can you recall, like how can you recap, how can you understand it after some times? So for you to be able to understand it clearly, you have to make use of what? You have to make use of comments, which means anything you want to do. Let's say like now I'm using the class attribute to select the p tag. I can just use control and front slash to create my comment. So in between I'll be writing comments on the next tag on the p tag. So I can just type I used my class attributes to select my p tag. So that's just what it is. So I use my class attribute to select my p tag. Exactly, that's what I did in my p tag. So anytime you come back to this code, you'll be able to understand much more better. Oh yes, I really recall. Now I remember this is what I did before. So and what else? I think that's all about the HTML comments. So the next thing is the HTML styles. HTML styles are used to style HTML elements. It also means changing default values. For instance, styling can change the default values or text color as black, background color as white, text align as left, and text size as 12px. So we also have what the internal style sheet is an internal we have the internal style sheet, we have the external, and then we have the inline. Using an internal style sheet is also called internal styling. An inter-style sheet is composed of one or more cascaded style sheet. So instead of giving much explanation on what is it, I can just come down here. If I want to use my internal style, I can just come here and write my style. After writing your style tag, you can just, let's say I want to select this p tag, okay, this h1, the h1 here, I want to select it. I can just call the name of the tag, which is h1, then my curly brackets. After my curly brackets, then click on enter button. Then I can say text align to center. Now I have my h1 at the center. I can also increase the font size of the h1 using the font size property, then increase it to 40px. Oh no, this is too much. Yeah, I can also add underline to it using the text decoration. I can I'll just set it to underline. Yes. So that's just it. That's just what it is. Then if I also want to change the background of my web page, all I have to do is select the body, then add background color to let's say aqua or just red. Yeah, So I can just change it here. Anyhow, so that's just one thing about the HTML style. Thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you for subscribing, for liking my page. Please, if you know you enjoy this video, you can just leave a comment below. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure you do now. Thank you very much. Bye. I love you all.